Hello, my name is Mrs. Overish, and this is Math Mania for 1st and 2nd graders. I am so glad you're here with me today. Let's learn something new in math. Today, we're going to be talking about how we recognize 2D shapes. All you need today is one piece of paper and something to write or draw with. All right, let's first go over our I can statement. Our I can statement today says, I can classify 2D shapes by the number of sides and angles. What are we exactly going to be doing today? First, we hear that word classify. What exactly does that word classify mean? Well, when we're classifying something, we're really just arranging it or putting it into different categories. So I'm adding arrange into categories. And another word for categories would just be groups. So I can classify or arrange in categories or groups by 2D shapes by the number of sides and angles. And sides and angles are exactly what we're going to be talking about today. And they're attributes of shapes and a way we sort them, if you will. So sides and angles are attributes of a shape. Attributes of a shape. So you'll see here I have a chart, and on my chart it's labeled, it's named 2D shapes, because we're only going to be talking about 2D shapes today. If we were talking about 3D shapes and 2D shapes, we'd be here forever. I only got a little bit of time with you. So we have 2D shapes. Reminding us what a side and an angle is, we have a side, which is the line or the edge of a shape. So we have the outside or the line. So if I think about this, my anchor chart sitting right here on the board, a side, if I say point to the right side, you're going to come over here and you're going to point to the side. The top is a side. This is an edge or a side, edge or a side. So our side is really just the outline of our shape. Then we also have an angle, and that's where two lines meet, or a corner. So right up here in our anchor chart, we have a corner or an angle. Corner and angle, corner, angle, corner or angle. So it's where two of our sides or two of our lines or edges are meeting, and they create an angle on the inside of the shape and create an angle on the outside of the shape as well. So we're going to talk about how to recognize shapes today based on how many sides and how many angles are in that shape that we see. So this is where you're going to need your piece of paper and pencil. And what I want you to do is take your blank piece of paper. It can have lines on it too if that's all you have. And you are going to fold it into fourths. So what that looks like is I take my piece of paper and I fold it in half. Make sure my edges line up really neat and nice. And I crease it. And then I'm going to fold it again one more time. And when I do this and I crease it, I can open it up. And we see now I have 4 really nice spots on my page for me to put my information. When you are done, we're going to add our labels on here. So you can see I also took my marker. I went over my creases just to make it really more defined. And then what I did is I wrote 3 sides, 3 angles. So we have 3 sides, 3 angles. 4 sides, 4 angles. 4 sides, 4 angles. We have 5 sides and 5 angles. 5 sides, 5 angles. And 6 sides and 6 angles. So you're going to label your paper so that when we draw our shapes in here, we already know how we're labeling our 2D shape today. All right, let's go ahead and get started with our first spot. So right here, our first spot is 3 sides and 3 angles. Does anyone see that on our chart where we have the number 3 2 times? Yeah, we see it right here. We have 3 sides and 3 angles. What shape might have 3 sides and 3 angles? If you guessed a triangle, you are absolutely right. So when I think about a triangle, I can count my sides, 1, 2, 3, and then I can also count my angles or my corners, 1, 2, 3. So my triangle does have 3 sides and 3 angles. Nice job. What you're going to do at home is now draw your triangle right here and then write triangle. Our next one says 4 sides, 4 angles. Wonder what shape that we know has 4 sides or 4 angles. Did you guess a square? If you did, you're absolutely right. And there is one more that you could have guessed too. That's right, a rectangle. Both a square and a rectangle have 4 sides and 4 angles. If I count my sides on my square, I have 4. And then if I go to count my corners, I also have 4. Same with a rectangle. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I go to do my angles, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at that. I'm going to let you pick what you want to write on yours. Maybe you want to put both. Maybe you want to put rectangle and square on your chart so that you have all the shapes that you need. I'm going to go ahead and just draw a square. And then I'm going to label it and write square. All right, let's go ahead and do 5 sides and 5 angles. That's a pretty big shape to have 5 sides and 5 angles. I see it right here on my chart. Does anyone know what that shape is called that has 5 sides and also 5 angles or edges or corners? That's right. It's a pentagon. Pentagon has 5 sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5 angles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can come over here to my 5 sides and 5 angles, and I can draw my pentagon. Kind of just like drawing a house. Have my roof and the base. Nice job. We have one more spot to fill. And our one more spot has 6 sides and 6 angles. Does anyone remember what that shape is called? You are right, a hexagon. A hexagon has 6 sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 6 angles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now I can draw my hexagon, which is kind of like a really cool gem or diamond looking shape, and write our word hexagon to label it. Nice job. Now you have a page with all of your angles and your sides listed and the shapes that fall underneath that. I'm going to challenge you today by drawing your own shapes on the back. So I want you to go ahead and flip your page over. Once you've flipped over your paper, I want you to label it the exact same way that you did on the front. So that means that you have 4 spots that say 3 sides, 3 angles, 4 sides, 4 angles, 5 sides, 5 angles, and 6 sides, 6 angles. And your challenge today is I want you to come up with your own shape. So maybe something that doesn't look exactly like a square or a rectangle, or maybe something that doesn't look exactly like a pentagon that we normally see when we think of shapes, but that still have the same amount of sides and angles. So let me give you an example. Is that shape something that we normally see when we think of the shapes that we learn in school? Let's count the sides and the angles. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. I wonder how many angles it has. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I could put that right here in 5 sides and 5 angles. even though it maybe doesn't look exactly like the pentagon I drew on the other side. It still has the same amount of sides and angles. Can you do the same thing for a shape with 4 sides and 4 angles? Or 6 sides, or even 3? I bet you can. I can't wait to see how creative you can get with drawing your shapes. All right, that's all I have for you today. My name is Mrs. Overish, and this is Mathmania. I'll see you next time.